What if everything you thought you knew about money was upside down? What if the very thing you chase every day, wealth, riches, financial success, was slowly corroding the part of you that truly matters, your heart? Centuries ago, a man named Al-Ghazali, one of the greatest minds in Islamic philosophy and spirituality, warned that money is not just numbers on a page, it is a test, a mirror, reflecting the deepest corners of our souls. And yet, society has continued as if nothing mattered, piling greed upon greed and calling it progress. By the end of this video, you'll see how his timeless warnings reveal shocking truths about our modern world, and why understanding money without understanding ourselves could be humanity's greatest mistake. Welcome to its financial history too. Al-Ghazali lived over 1,000 years ago in the Islamic Golden Age, a period of remarkable intellectual, scientific, and economic development. Cities were bustling with trade, coins jingled in the hands of merchants, and markets thrived like modern-day financial hubs. Yet, in the midst of this apparent prosperity, Al-Ghazali noticed something unsettling. He observed how money, when pursued for its own sake, could warp not just individuals but entire societies. To understand him, we need to grasp the context. In his time, wealth was not just a personal goal, it was a social barometer. A person's moral and spiritual standing was constantly tested by how they used their resources. And Al-Ghazali argued that most people failed the test. He didn't reject money itself, he recognized it as a necessary tool. But he fiercely warned, "Love money as an end, and your heart rots." To trace the roots of greed, we must start with human desire itself. Al-Ghazali believed the heart is inherently restless. It craves comfort, security, and status. Money, because it promises all three, becomes a temptation impossible to resist. In a society built on commerce and exchange, he observed how small desires wanting a finer robe, a bigger house, or a prestigious title could snowball into dangerous attachment. The origins of greed, he claimed, were subtle. It begins not with theft or corruption, but with admiration, envy, and unchecked ambition. The medieval economy amplified these impulses. Wealth was accumulating rapidly among the few elites, while large populations struggled. This imbalance created both envy and desperation, a perfect storm for moral compromise. As trade flourished, so did the pursuit of wealth. Markets became arenas of competition not just for goods, but for social status. Al-Ghazali noted a psychological pattern. As people acquired more wealth, their desires expanded even faster than their resources. This phenomenon wasn't unique to his era. He described it as a hunger of the heart that grows insatiable. The more one has, the more one wants. Here, he draws a critical cause and effect. Attachment to wealth leads to moral distraction, and moral distraction leads to social decay. Think of it as a repeating cycle: acquisition, attachment, obsession, and finally, corruption. Even in the medieval cities, he knew this cycle manifested in bribes, exploitation, and cruelty. And the consequences were often invisible. People believed wealth equaled virtue, when it was, in reality, a test of character most failed. Al-Ghazali warned that the breaking point comes not when money runs out, but when it begins to control the heart. When greed dictates decisions, ethics crumble. He recounts examples of merchants who, in their quest for profit, would deceive, exploit, or hoard resources, even as the wider community suffered. The breaking point is psychological. When desire overtakes reason, the human heart becomes fragile, blind to morality, and easily corrupted. This stage is critical because it connects internal morality to societal outcomes. When many hearts reach this breaking point, institutions weaken, trust erodes, and inequality spirals. Sound familiar? Look at today's global wealth distribution. A few control unimaginable riches while billions struggle for basic necessities. The pattern hasn't changed. The consequences of unchecked greed, according to Al-Ghazali, are both personal and collective. Individually, attachment to wealth fosters anxiety, jealousy, and moral numbness. Collectively, it breeds systemic injustice, exploitation of labor, corruption in governance, and widening social divides. Even today, studies show that extreme inequality correlates with lower life satisfaction, higher crime rates, and social instability. Al-Ghazali's insight wasn't just moralistic, it was practical. Societies that elevate wealth as the ultimate goal risk collapse from within, long before any external threats appear. Throughout history, societies have tried to curb greed with laws, regulations, and moral codes, but Al-Ghazali recognized a profound truth. External fixes alone cannot transform the heart. You can legislate against theft or usury, but you cannot legislate humility, gratitude, or detachment. For him, real reform required internal transformation, recognizing the difference between needs and desires, valuing virtue over luxury, and seeing wealth as a means, not an end. Attempts at purely structural fixes fail because they ignore human psychology. The desire for more, he argued, will always find a loophole if the heart remains untrained. Fast forward 1,000 years, and Al-Ghazali's warnings feel eerily contemporary. Look at modern credit systems, stock markets, or social media-driven consumerism. Patterns repeat. People chase wealth to signal status. Desires grow faster than means. Ethical compromises follow. Societal trust erodes. Recent data reveals staggering wealth concentration. The richest 1% now control more wealth than the rest of the world combined. Corruption, environmental degradation, and mental health crises are intertwined with these patterns. The human heart hasn't changed. The tools have. Al-Ghazali's insights are more than historical musings. They are a lens to interpret the moral economy of today. So, what can we learn from a scholar who lived over a millennium ago? 3 key lessons emerge. First, wealth is a tool, not a goal. Obsession with accumulation blinds the heart. Second, the heart sets the limits of morality. Laws and rules can't fix internal greed. Third, desires expand faster than means. Mindful moderation protects both soul and society. And a final warning. If we ignore these truths, history has shown the consequences repeat inequality, moral erosion, and social instability. Al-Ghazali's message is both simple and profound. Money is a test of character. How we approach it, whether with attachment or detachment, reveals who we are, not just what we own. Reflect on your relationship with wealth. Are you its master, or is it quietly mastering you? If this video opened your eyes to a deeper understanding of money and morality, hit that like button, subscribe for more curiosity-driven explorations, and share your thoughts in the comments. What does wealth mean to you, and how do you guard your heart? The conversation is just beginning.